Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the amount of goals you have in life? Or struggled to decide which ones to focus on first? It's like you don't have enough time or energy in the day to get everything done. You want to excel in your career but also stay fit and healthy, while building meaningful relationships. Maybe you even want to develop a new hobby or two, yet still, it all feels a little too much, right? Don't worry, you're not the only one feeling that way. I've been there too. In today's video, I'll be sharing how I prioritize the different goals I have in life. Throughout the video, we'll talk about how you can balance multiple goals in life. To do this effectively, you need to focus on what to do now and what to make time for later, and often goes hand in hand with separating small and big tasks. Let's begin. I have always talked about the importance of prioritizing goals before establishing a proper routine. It is something essential which helps to build discipline, and discipline is critical when you're working toward big goals. But before you can get disciplined, you need to figure out what to focus on first. You can't give everything equal attention, at least not at the same time. We all have limited time, energy, and even motivation, and prioritization can help us make the most of each. You have to decide what matters most to you right now, and what can wait. But most importantly, you have to decide how much time you can invest in each area. Take me, for instance. Just like many of you, I have multiple goals as well. I want to look and feel my best, whether that means staying fit, improving my style, or just making sure I'm taking care of my personal hygiene. On top of all that, I want to live a comfortable yet still moderately luxurious lifestyle. I want freedom, financial freedom, freedom of time, and freedom from all the authority. But achieving these goals often requires a lot of effort across the different areas. I can't just focus on one thing and expect the rest to fall into place by themselves. Each goal requires different steps, and I have to determine which of those steps are most important to take. But it's not just about time. It's about energy. We all have days when we're just so drained to get anything done. That's why knowing where to focus your energy can be just as important as managing your time. Adding those, with other constraints like money, obligations, and sometimes even our own mental and emotional roadblocks, it becomes clear why prioritization is so important. At the end of the day, it comes down to making choices. Deciding what you need to achieve now versus what can wait a while until later. And that's exactly what the first step in my prioritization process is. Figuring out what I want to do and when I want to do it not only helps me to determine what is most important, but also gives me a realistic timeline for when I can expect to achieve my goals. For example, let's say I want to learn a new language, but it doesn't come overnight. But if I dedicate 30 minutes a day to studying and practicing, eventually I'll become proficient. It might take a year or even 2, but with consistent effort and small daily improvements, I'll reach that level of fluency. The key is understanding that the progress takes time. Now, if I wanted to speed up that process, I'd have to adjust my routine and probably study more often. Instead of 30 minutes a day, I'd probably study an hour. That will improve my fluency. But this might also mean that I will have to sacrifice my time from some other activity, maybe like my career or personal life. So, by setting a realistic timeline for when I want to achieve my goals, I can set aside just the right amount of energy for that task without overwhelming myself. But here's the catch. There's also an important component of sacrifice involved. Taking my story as an example, I desire to live a moderately luxurious lifestyle. I've always had expensive tastes, whether it's in clothes or timepieces, but recently, I've developed a love for luxury watches. I could buy one easily now if I wanted to. I mean, I have the means. But is it the best investment? Probably not. Over the years, I learned to delay these kinds of purchases because that money could be invested somewhere better. Maybe in savings, maybe in business opportunities, maybe even in experiences that contribute more to my long-term happiness. So, even though I might want a particular luxury item now, I've learned to push that desire off until later. By delaying certain pleasures, I'm setting myself up for greater rewards in the future. And this isn't just about luxury goods. It's about understanding which goals or desires need immediate attention and which ones can wait. Sacrifice is a big part of prioritization. You might have to give up something you want now to gain something better later. It's about long-term thinking and understanding that sometimes the best thing you can do for your future self is to delay gratification in the present moment. Another key element of prioritization is knowing the difference between small tasks and big tasks. In the corporate world, there's a term that gets thrown around a lot: quick wins. Now, I'm not a big fan of that phrase, but I do appreciate the philosophy behind it. The idea is to focus on the tasks that will give you the most results for the least amount of effort. I call it the 80-20 rule. 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort. Let's take finances as an example. Making more money is hard. Whether it's trying to get a raise, starting a side hustle, or investing in stocks, earning more money often takes a lot of time and effort before you see any results. But do you know what is easier? Budgeting. By cutting down on these unnecessary expenses or finding ways to save, you can see financial improvements almost immediately. This is what I mean by focusing on quick wins. It's about finding the tasks that deliver the most bang for your buck in the shortest amount of time. I'm the kind of person who gets discouraged if I don't see results quickly, and I know I'm not alone in that. When you work on a big goal for weeks or months without seeing any progress, it's easy to lose hope and motivation. That's why I like to start with small baby steps. But it's not just about momentum. Prioritizing small tasks also frees up your mental space. If I have a long to-do list, I'll start by knocking out the easier tasks first. That way, once they're out of the way, I have the energy to focus on the more complex challenges. It's like clearing the runway before taking off for a flight. At the same time, it's important not to let small tasks consume all your time. You can get stuck in a cycle of doing easy, low-impact tasks and never actually make progress on the big goals that matter. So, while I prioritize small wins to build momentum, I also keep my bigger goals in mind. I make sure that once I've built up enough momentum, I can shift my focus to the larger tasks that will move me closer to my long-term objectives. At the end of the day, prioritizing is about making intentional choices with your time, energy, and resources. You can't do everything at once, and that's okay. What matters is deciding what is important for you right now and what can't wait until later. But remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach. Everyone's priorities are different, and what works for me might not work for you. The key is to take a step back, look at the big picture, and ask yourself this simple question: what do I need to focus on today to create the most impact? Once you start thinking in terms of priorities, everything becomes a little bit clearer. You'll find that you're able to make more progress with less stress, and that each small step brings you closer to your bigger goals. I'd love to know more about you and how do you prioritize your goals. What's one small win you can achieve today that will move you closer to where you want to be tomorrow? Drop a comment below, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, let's stay focused, stay disciplined, and keep pushing forward one priority at a time. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and remember to hit that bell icon and subscribe to our channel for more life-changing videos.